Every AI company says that they are the best in finance, so I put them through a real benchmark. There are so many AI tools available that they are either using too much of them or using them wrong. So in this video, I'm going to evaluate the top AIs for finance in a very rigorous way, step by step, using an actual research methodology from a published paper, and show you with receipts which one is generally the best at financial work with the real benchmarks. Well, Anthropic says Claude is the best. OpenAI says ChatGPT is the best. Google says Gemini. Microsoft says Copilot. And for finance, that's just noise. Passing a math quiz is nothing like running a 10K or catching up the footnote that breaks evaluation. You don't need the AI that's best on a slide. You need the one that is best at your job. And that's where vals.ai comes in. It's an independent company and their benchmark qualifier with Stanford that does one thing. That's the top models on real domain-specific work, and they've built a dedicated one for finance. This is the finance agent benchmark. They leave the live leaderboard, every major model ranked on how it actually performs on real analysis tests. And the number one finance AI right now, it's not Claude, not ChatGPT, it's the Gemini 3.5 Flash at about 58% and Claude Fable 5 right behind at 56, Opus at 54, and by the time you're watching, the exactly order may have moved. Now accuracy is only half the story. Look at the cost per task. This scatter plots every model by accuracy and price. And here's the punchline. Gemini Flash isn't just the most accurate, this is one of the cheapest of the leaders. Top left, exactly where you want to be. And the premium models over here on the right, 3 to 4 times the price, for a point or two less. It gets sharper because there's no single best AI for finance, it depends on the task. Gemini Flash wins earnings analysis at 79% and market analysis at 74%. But Claude takes the quantitative work at 81 and disclosure analysis at 69, and the deep rating. And the most important number of the whole page, financial modeling. Well, so the rule writes itself, let AI read, analyze, and explain, and keep your hands on the models. Now, why trust these numbers? Because of how they grade, and it's all in the paper. It's basically 4 steps. 1, experts write the question and they go standard answer, and 2, that answer gets broken into a rubric and exactly facts and calculations a correct response must contain. And 3, the model research and answers using real tools. And last step, an LLM just checks the answer against each rubric point. And about all this model, there's the relevant part actually. The whole thing is open source on GitHub. You can see the actual questions they test, real tests on real tickers, and the documentation lays out exactly what it does. It hands an AI agent a set of tools, points at SEC filings, and make generally research the answer like a junior analyst would. To run it yourself, you wire up a few APIs. You need the Tiingo for market and price data, which is free, and the EDGAR filling search through the SEC API, and heads up, the free tier is tiny, so you end up making a couple of accounts to rotate keys, and a Tavily for web research that is also free. And then the most important piece, the AIs that you want to compare. And that's lever, you pick the contestants, but there's one catch. The thing that actually grade the answers, the vals.ai judge, is the one piece that is not open source, so I built my own. I'm using Claude Opus as the orchestrator. It runs each model through the questions, then grades every answer against vals.ai published rubric. And the exact checklist from the paper, so the scoring is transparent and reproducible. And here's the matchup. 2 contestants picked on purpose. Gemini 3.5 Flash, the current number 1, against ChatGPT 4.1 Mini, a basic cheap model. And well guys, that graph shows you the drastic difference the model makes on real work, and it keeps the API costs at the runtime sane because the agents are expensive and they're very slow. So yeah, this is why I'm comparing a kind of efficient AI with a very cheap outdated version to save on my API costs time, and to show you the drastic difference these models have, but you can compare any AI as you want. Well, and in the middle you have Claude holding the scorecard with no horse in the race, and this is exactly how I run it. Okay, right here in VS Code, I prompt Claude to pull the repo, wire up the agent, and run the whole orchestration. But I also have it at things the benchmark doesn't ship with, which are the safeguards. So a crash or an expired key never loses a finished question or charges you twice. So I don't know why it doesn't have these in the GitHub repo, but it's very important to have these safeguards. and an EDGAR key rotation trick, because the first tree is tiny, so you spin a couple of accounts and Claude rotates the keys automatically to keep the run alive. So when you're gonna get your API key from the EDGAR, you actually get a lot of, you need to get like 2-3 keys depending on the amount of questions you want to make. And okay, so I ran it, same harness, same tools, same filling, every answer graded by Opus against vals.ai, rubric. And here's the scoreboard. Gemini 3.5 flash, 95%, and GPT 4.1 mean, 25. That's not together, that's a canyon. And remember how the grading works, because it's the honest part. Every question ships with a rubric, a checklist of the exact facts a correct answer has to contain. For the EDGAR question, that's 4 points, CrowdStrike number, Palo Alto's numbers, which one's higher and by how many basis points. And this is where Claude Orchestrator earns its spot. It's not a contestant, it never answers a finance question. Its only job are to run each model through the benchmark and then sit as a neutral judge. Apply that rubric line by line to both answers. Hit or miss plus a contradiction check. Same scorecard, same standard, no favoritism. And that's what makes the result trustworthy. So let's see where I actually broke. Question 4, the revenue CGR. Gemini went straight to the 10Ks. CrowdStrike revenue 2.24 billion growing to 3.95. Well, Palo Alto 6.9 to 9.2 and computed it. CrowdStrike 32.8, 2%. Palo Alto 15.67, higher by 15 basis points. 4 out of 4. Exactly, GPT 4.1 mini got CrowdStrike right and called it the winner right. But it pulled a wrong revenue figure from Palo Alto, landing on 15.47 instead of 15.67, and its base points answers was off. 2 out of 4, undone by a single bad number from a bad source. And question 3 was worse and more revealing. The task, who disclosed their competitive landscape in more detail, EA or Take-Two? Gemini read both 10Ks and nailed it. Take-Two names 13 specific competitors. EA doesn't name a single one, so Take-Two discloses more. 7 out of 7. GPT 4.1 mini, it pulled the wrong year's EA filling and grabbed Take-Two data off a stock screener site. And could conclude exactly opposite, that EA discloses more. It didn't just miss the point, it got the headline answer backwards. And here's the thing, you're actually seeing the answers. Gemini's response cites the SEC fillings URLs, the real 10Ks. And GPT's response cites press releases and market beat. That's the whole story right there. It's not that the cheap model is dumb. It's that when you don't force it to read the primary source, it grabs the nearest convenient one. And in finance, the nearest convenient one is exactly how you end up wrong and confident at the same time. So the takeaway, the benchmark, said Gemini 3.5 Flash is the #1 finance model and running by myself with the executive confirm it. 95 to 25 is a huge difference, but the real lesson isn't like use Gemini. Well, the models change, questions change, and I also didn't compare Gemini with a Fable or Opus. You can also run this in your subscription plan in Claude or ChatGPT or any AI you have, but you're not using the repo because for the GitHub repo they published, you need the API keys. And but there is also an option, you can create your own benchmark based on this model, for example. So that's it, guys. Thank you for watching.